babies in 20 years. That's what it's about, you guys. So we got to keep telling the story. So that was awesome. And my other win was do good customer care, because we get to stay in my customer's house in Newport Beach for free this summer.
That's
so
awesome.
excited.
Wow.
So, it's just great having those relationships with your customers. And I'm going to say, okay, let's invite, well, she's not going to be there, but I'm going to be like, I'm going to invite all your friends in Newport Beach over and do a wellness, wine and wellness night.
Awesome. That's a great idea.
Why not? You just never know. It's like you always say, Reagan, get in other people's living rooms, and ain't it the truth?
It's true. Absolutely. Well, awesome. Anybody else? Anybody they want to introduce? Hi, Peter. You're new. Tell us about you.
This is my good friend Peter. He's a soccer player, and he used to be one of my students, and he is now in senior, and he's right now you're in Iowa, right? Des Moines?
Yes, I am.
Yeah.
That is
Awesome.
He's new to our team, and he's going to be on TV playing soccer, and he promised
Fingers
me.
crossed.
Wow. Congratulations and welcome to our team. We're so proud to have you here, and
Awesome.
we wish you the best of success. I wish we had some of our other athletic boys on tonight, but I think they might have partied too much for boot camp. That's what I'm thinking, but
I got you. Well, thank y'all for having me.
So that's cool that you guys were that Stephanie was your teacher.
Since 7th grade, I've known him. So
Quite some time, yes.
Fabulous. Well, you get the opportunity to make a huge difference and help a lot of people just by sharing something that's good. You're going to share it anyway. So
yeah, of course, always.
And especially around all those athletic people, we've got a lot of pretty cool athletes.
Yeah, I've met quite a couple, and I'm happy to share it for sure. So yeah.
Great, that's great. Well, awesome. Anything else? Okay. Well, because I want to honor Sandra's time, because I know her husband is waiting for her to go out and spoil him for birthday dinner, I'm going to turn it over to Sandra, and then I want you guys to stay on, especially those you guys that came to the Colorado boot camp, so you can share a few of your aha moments, and we'll just do a kind of a 50,000-foot view. But Sandra, thank you so much for doing the 21-day challenge and stepping up. And I love that you just said, I'm doing this, and you did it, and you invited everybody to play along, and I know it just helps so many people. So that, I'm going to just say thank you and let you speak to that.
All right. Well, I had such a good time doing the 21-day challenge. I came out of conference so charged that I needed something that was going to help me take the knowledge that I had learned at conference and put it into action. And so the 21-day challenge was born. And when I was putting it together, I really needed it to be balanced. So I tend to put all myself into work, and then I kind of forget about everybody else, meaning my husband and kids and all that life kind of stuff. And so the 21-day challenge ended up, being just challenges during the work week, Monday through Friday, because I really wanted everybody to practice what it looked like to be able to have a life balance. And I needed that lesson more than anything. And so we ended up having 15 challenges, and I'm looking at my notes so I don't forget to tell y'all anything. But for me, I think one of my favorite challenges was having to go out and talk to 5 strangers. And I think it's because that was a big challenge for me. So a lot of those challenges that I wrote up were things that I struggled with, early on a couple years ago in my business, and I struggle with today. And at first it was really, really hard. And then as I started doing it, it got easier. And now I've worked it into my daily practice, which is yay. But although I didn't do an official survey, I did talk to a lot of people. I went through Facebook, we made some comments, and the feedback that I received was, consistency. Consistency was the one word that I heard over and over and over again. And even though a lot of people who participated in the challenge, they all said, I didn't do every challenge, but what it did is it created this consistency and this activity in my business that it helped me grow my business. And so that was a big one. And so everybody had kind of like consistency in their daily practice. Instead of doing this part-time or 1 day a week or 1 hour a week, it was something that they worked every single day. I had people asking me for copies of the challenges because they want to be able to make this into their practice every month. Created a broader team and a clientele by having to go out there and talk to a new demographic. It's created a new team or a new clientele into their team, which is great, or their base. More comfortable with sharing, and helped create new ideas and activities on how to market their business. And that was the whole goal, is to get people out there sharing, talking to people that are outside of their warm market or people they wouldn't normally talk to, getting on social media. I know I have a couple of people on my team that are like, I don't do social media. What do I do? What do I say? So I try to put a lot of examples in there to just help people show how easy it can be. Don't think, just type it, send it, fail forward, try again, just not doing anything. I think that a lot of times, at least for me in the beginning, I was paralyzed by not doing anything. And I've gotten a whole lot more accomplished by just doing it. And so my biggest takeaway that I can share is that was bravery. I really needed to be more brave. And I have been. And I'm able to talk to strangers and kick up conversations more easily than ever. I talk to everybody. And it doesn't always go into a conversation, but I kind of got this like method now where I know if I can take this a little bit deeper, or if it'll turn into something, or if I just need to move on, where I didn't have that before. So I'm weeding through people more often. And
can I ask you about that? Because I think that's a huge thing for most people, is they're so worried about what people will think of them, and I don't know what to say next. And we start having these conversations in our head that I'm going to say this, and they're going to say this, and they're going to say this, and then they don't say that, and then you freak out, and then you're afraid to talk to that next person. So what do you think it was that made it easier for you to talk to everybody now?
Practice, and walk away from a couple conversations feeling like an idiot. Practice. And not caring. It's about not caring, and it's about knowing that it's kind of like coming from a servant's heart, that you're going to find that one person that needs to hear from you that one day. You're that light. You're that angel that's going to tap on somebody's shoulder, and you don't know who it is yet, but you need to kind of fail forward by doing it. And it just becomes more naturally. The more you say it, and the more you say, hi, how you doing? Or the more you find like hot buttons. So if somebody will say something in conversation like, oh, I have allergies, or, oh, I can't do that, or, oh, I'm such a picky eater, or, oh, I don't like vegetables. I mean, those are kind of obvious ones. But instead of just smiling and nodding, ask the question. Oh, what are you allergic to? Oh, well, how does it feel when you eat it? Just like asking questions, because people love to talk about themselves. So if you can get people talking about themselves, you can find out what matters to them. And then you can see where that conversation can lead to. I mean, I just had a conversation with a guy at the grocery store that I see probably like every 2 days. And, it was at Whole Foods, and I used my Amazon Prime app, and I saved 10%, and I was all stoked about it. And I was talking about them not having as many things. I was like, my trust for you guys is changing, because is it GMO? Is it non-GMO? Does it have the glyphosate on the produce now? Does it not? And, and it led to, he's like, wow, you seem to really know what you're talking about. And I was like, well, I teach people how to be healthier. And so, it's really important to know the difference between whole foods and isolated vitamins. And he was like, wow, do you teach classes? Can I get your card? I'd love to learn more. And it was just like this random conversation. So it's always about finding a way in. I was so mad. I was on the trail this morning, shortly after I did the live, and I usually have, business cards in between my phone. And there was this gal sitting on the trail by herself, just taking a break on her Instagram, because, what else do we do when we're on trails? We Facebook Live and Instagram, apparently. But I was like, she's by herself. And I was like, and so I should totally talk to her and try to recruit her, because if she's by herself and she's on a trail, she's totally motivated about being healthy, she could be somebody that I could recruit on my team. So it's always just thinking about what those opportunities are. And 2 years ago when I signed on, y'all, I told Mel, and I was like, oh, just so you know, I'm not going to sell this. I'm just doing this for the discount. I don't know anybody. And And here I am talking to strangers.
And I remember having a lunch with you and feeling frustrated at the end because all you said the whole time was like, no, I'm not going to push them. No, I'm not going to say that. No, I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do it.
Right. And it's really
And
about
we were like,
the right state of mind. I wasn't there. I had to get out of my own way because I was prejudging every second. I'm a control freak. I think there's people on here that can identify with that. And I was afraid. It was fear. I was fearful of like what they were going to think of me. It had nothing to do with anybody else. It was all me. And so once I kind of got out of my way, and then I started to practice and just be like, oh, I just sounded like such an idiot. But you know what? I know what not to say next time. And nobody cares. Nobody's thinking about you. They're thinking about themselves. And once you realize that, you care less. And so that's how I had to start practicing, and I just had to start doing. And I wrote down my 30-second commercial. That was probably one of my big turning points, is I literally sat down and I wrote down, you know, how to say what I do in 10 seconds. I think I wrote it in like 4 sentences. And then I practiced it, especially before I like went to a networking group or as I blow dry my hair. I just say it in the mirror. And then it became a mantra. And then that's part of what made it so much easier when I got out there and started talking to people. And if you say it with confidence, people believe in you too. It's all about your delivery and your tone. I think that's really important as well. But yeah, so bravery, like what are people going to think of me if I post something about this on Facebook? What are people going to think of me if I talk to them about this? You know, well, what if you help somebody and you know, change the trajectory of their health picture? What if you're saving somebody's life or their child's or their dad's or their mom's, or, you know, what if you just explain to them what the difference is between whole food nutrition and vitamins? Because a lot of people are out there taking one a days thinking they're doing the right thing. I never knew what the difference was until I knew because somebody shared it with me. So go share it.
You know, Sandra, I think what I've seen in you over the last 2 years that you've really grown through, which I think is a natural process I think we all go through, is that instead of worrying about what everybody thinks, is that you're not so tied to those results and you're not taking it personally anymore if they're your best friend who needs it more than anybody and they're the ones that say no. You're kind of like, well, let me know when you need it. I mean, let me know when you want to talk. I'll still be here. Yeah. And when you said the word confidence, I think that is really, really key, because the thing is, we have an amazing product. We have an amazing company. We have an amazing industry. And so then it's really about not letting it affect whether they decide yes or no. That shouldn't affect really our life. It really affects their life, right? And
yeah,
I've seen
and the ones that always need it or always the most hard to sell, they never say yes. And once you kind of separate that, it just pulls at my heartstrings, because there's so many people that are like, oh my God, this would so much help you if you would just say yes. But it's just not their time. It's all about timing. So just move on. You planted the seed. And as you know, I had a customer a couple months ago that came on, breast cancer survivor, wouldn't take the product all through it. And then finally was like, well, I figured you've been doing this for 2 years. I may as well try it. Right. And so just keep being that light and be consistent. And that's like what I've really learned. And if you set goals and you put the intention out there, and if you're consistent with your business, you'll get results. One of the goals I had when I left conference was to get 5 customers a month. Guess what? I got 5 customers in May. And I have a ton in pipelines. And because of my bravery, I have a really big lead that happened this week. Reagan, I told you a little bit about it on text, but I got brave and I knew that I wanted to add teachers to my team. I wanted to add healthcare professionals to my team. So I walked into birthing centers in the Boulder area where I live. And I just told them what I did and asked them if I could come in and speak to their staff during lunch or during one of their staff meetings and talk to them about the relationship between, nutrition and disease. And they said, sure, send us an email. So I sent an email. I went and spoke to like 10 doulas on Friday afternoon during their staff meeting. And the director came to me afterwards and said, I'd really like to talk to you about how to make this, have this in our practice. And then because I was brave, I was like, well, she was like okay, how do I talk about this? So basically the way the conversation happened was, I think this might be too expensive. And I was like, well, there's other ways that you can make it more affordable. And I was like, and you can also create a revenue stream in your practice if you carry this. She's like, yeah, I'd like to know more about that. And I was like, with this type of business, you might not be able to offer big health benefits. So maybe you could give this as a benefit to your staff if they're willing to take it. And so she totally grabbed onto that. And then I have a meeting set up for later this week or early next week to talk to them how to bring into the practice. None of that would have happened if I didn't walk into this place sweating bullets. Thank God I had like a black t-shirt on. And I just went in there and just asked, right? And then they were all so receptive of the information. So be brave. Go ask the question. Be a light. Go share. Go back and do the 21-day challenge. You can find it on our Facebook page and scroll. If you want it, PM me. I'll just send you the Word document. For those of you that asked me for it, I will put it together and I'll send it to everybody. But it's just doing a daily activity and staying consistent, that the universe will pay you back.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Does anybody have any questions for Sandra or comments? Anybody that did the challenge with her?
I'd love for her to share her 30-second or 10-second commercial, whatever it is. I'm curious what she's saying.
God, putting on the spot. Okay. Now I'm sweating again. Okay. Let's see. What is my usual one? I say, hi, my name is Sandra Sillion. I represent the world's most researched nutritional product on the market, AKA Nutraceutical Whole Food Nutrition. We have a very fierce and compact product line. We offer 30 different fruits and vegetables available in a powder or gummy. We also have a full spectrum omega. We have a protein shake, as well as some snack bars. All of our products are gluten-free, dairy-free, non-GMO, and NSF certified. To be NSF certified, it means that we have a food label. It means that everything that is in the product is listed. All of our products are now vegan down to the capsule, which is great for important people, or which is great for our market here. If you'd like to learn more information about my product, come and speak to me after the meeting. Thanks. That's my networking speech. And it changes, it varies.
The world knows you. That's awesome.
If I have a little bit more time, I go in and I talk about the Healthy Starts program.
When you went and talked to the doctors, did you use that or did you switch it up?
I sat down with them and I had 30 minutes with them. And so when I went in and I talked to them and I said, hi, my name is Sandra Sillion. I'm a wellness educator, and I teach people about the relationship between nutrition and disease. Do you ever have people come in and talk to you for a lunch and learn or during a staff meeting? Would you be open to having me come and share this information with your office? And
what did she just do? What did she just do that was the right thing to do?
Asked a question they'd say yes to.
She asked a question, which totally made it all about who?
Them.
Yeah. Good job.
Yeah. It's all about would you be open to having this information? And I've done this to several offices. And I would say that the natural path, wellness, health educators are probably a little bit more open than our traditional offices. I swear I get shot down at pediatric offices or, traditional, Western medicine offices all the time. But the ones that are open are the chiropractors, acupuncturists, physical therapists, the birth centers I've done a good job at. But you know why I've done a good job, y'all, is because women and children and mamas are my passion, and that comes through when I'm talking. Mm-hmm. So you have to figure out what your passion is. Is it athletes? Is it moms? Is it people who are fighting disease? Figure out where your passion is, and that's going to come through stronger.
That's great.
That's huge.
Anybody else?
Any other questions?
Okay. Well, we'll look forward to having you run that again, Sandra. It was awesome. And thank you so much for sharing your nuggets there. I thought that was invaluable.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
I wrote down my 30-second speech somewhere. I'll post it on Boxer. I'll find it and post it.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome. Thank you so much. All right, we're going to transition to the boot campers, the ones that were able to come. Jenna, I'm so sorry. Her whole family got the flu and she wasn't able to come up. So she's better. We were feeling sorry for you.
Thank you.
But for those of us that went, it was absolutely incredible. I mean, the fact that we got to hear Jay Martin and Wendy Campbell, and I think every single person that spoke this time they just spoke to our hearts. So I'd love to hear some takeaways from some of you that came. I know, Rachel, it was your first one, and Diana, you as well. Jen was there. Where's Jen? Still here? She's still here. Did she get off? Oh, there she is. What were you guys' takeaways? Give me an aha. What was your comparing even to conference? Like, it's so different.
Yeah, I was pleasantly surprised that it was different enough from conference that I got some new different takeaways. I liked there are lots of little nuggets. I actually have a bunch of pages of notes that I took and reviewed them yesterday, but one of the things that I wrote down was that not calling our product a product, but calling it a nutritional lifeline. I really liked that comment.
That's good. I'm glad you said that. I didn't pick that up.
And I picked up on that, and that was a great one. Of course, a lot of the talks were centered on your why and the why that makes you cry and digging deeper for the why. But I think I already know my why, but I thought, but one thing that I hadn't thought about is when you're onboarding a new rep to dig into their why. So early on in the process, asking them what their why is, and if it's financial, for example, well, why? What would that do for your family if you had that money? And keep asking why, maybe 6 or more questions deep to really get at their real motivation, because sometimes it isn't so much just the financial aspect. That's really nice, the financial freedom, but it actually comes down to modeling, for example, for their kids, setting a good example for their kids, and being able to provide a life that gives them and their family choices. So it goes beyond just the having a few extra $100 in the bank every month, but having choices, and so I thought that was just another nice little takeaway that I think was hammered home over the course of the weekend, because there was a lot of talk about why you're doing this, and your belief in not just the product, but your belief in the mission, and your belief in the company, and your belief in the industry, and your all those things. And so I think all those kind of tie hand in hand. So I liked it. I enjoyed the boot camp, and I thank you, Reagan, for inspiring me to go, because I might not have gone otherwise. So
no, it was pretty close to conference, but it is so different. So I'm always like, especially with my new people, I manipulate them right there. So thank you for trusting me to come.
It is totally different. I love that you said that, Rachel. I always think boot camp is like the how-to, the nuts and bolts. Conference is more of that big picture. Both are which are necessary in belief building. But you guys mark your calendars, because the second weekend of June next year is boot camp in Breckenridge. Just put it on your calendar now so you don't accidentally plan something else.
June 8th and 9th, I put it out in Voxer. So.
Oh, I'm behind on Voxer.
No, that's okay. I just did it.
What's new?
How about you, Diana? It was your first one. What was your big aha?
Well, I was running a little bit late, so I missed Wendy Campbell, but the next speaker that was, and I didn't write her name down, so help me out with who that was. Who was the speaker that was the athlete?
Winter.
Becky.
Winter.
Okay. All right. Well, I really found her very motivational in the information that she shared. And I took some notes, and one of the things she had said was dream it, plan it, do it. And came back around with what is your why? And that just made a lot of sense to me as far as from a inspiring moment where it was like, aha, now, I'm thinking about why am I doing this? What is it? What is in it for me, and why do I want to continue on this path? And I just really found her very motivating for me, and it kind of set the tone for the weekend. And I thought it was a great conference. It was really, really good. I felt like it was more, the conference in Phoenix was great, but I felt like this just got more on a personal level, or, because it was smaller, I think. And so a lot of the information kind of resonated, and, you had time to digest it and take it all in. So that's where I was at.
That's awesome. And yeah, Winter Vinecki, what a great story there. But it is different. It's different than conference. Like I think what Ellen said, it's, conference is big picture, but also it ekes into your heart. Because I remember us all crying at the end, So I don't think you ever pick between both. I think you just plan on going to a boot camp and coming to the conferences. It's just because you're going to get more hands-on. Plus you've got, at a boot camp, you're able to go and meet Jay Martin and talk to him and talk to whoever you want to, right? And I thought it was so cute because Rachel brought her daughter McKenna, you guys, and McKenna is gaga about Juice Plus. She's hysterical, and she made these little Juice Plus for her American Girl dolls. Like she cut it out, and she made Rachel print off the things, and she has like a little capsule holder for her, and it has one capsule inside. Well, she came because she asked if she could come to boot camp so she could meet Jay Martin when she found out he was coming, and she's 7. She wants to meet Jay Martin. It was so funny. So Jay Martin comes in, and lo and behold, he sits down at our table for breakfast. And she was like, oh my gosh, Jay Martin's at our table. And she went around to show him all of her little things she'd made. And it was so funny because I love Rachel says, this is a girl that doesn't shut up. And she was just speechless. It was so funny. It was so cute.
One other thing, too, Reagan, that when we had our breakout session and we were at the tables with the different fruits and vegetables, this one gentleman that was at the table made a comment which kind of was like, oh, really? I didn't think about that. But he said, it's 12 products, people. 12. How much simpler can it be? And I was like, oh, I never thought about it that way. That makes it pretty simple to sell.
Yep. And they're all for health. Right. All for providing bodies with more produce. Awesome. How about you, Jen? Or Izzy?
Yeah, no, and I would agree. Like, I think the thing I like about boot camp is that it's more personal. I feel like you can connect better with people, have those conversations. So that's one of the things I really do like about boot camp. I had a lot of things that I took away. I think just like nuggets. I think there were so many people that were like in the health or fitness industry, that many of them shared that, they thought they were healthy. And they found out they weren't when they finally got started. So I think that just kind of tells you don't ever give up on them. And it may take more time for them to kind of get going and get started, but people don't know what they don't know. And that was something that was said several times too. The other thing was that just because something is common doesn't make it okay.
Yeah.
Wendy Campbell said that, and I thought that was awesome.
I wrote that one down too.
Yeah. So I think that's good. And also just
everybody's having not able to get pregnant. That's just because that's common, that doesn't make it okay. I mean, she was referring to medical stuff, right?
Yeah, for sure. But I think it even goes through to, just because everybody thinks they're taking, a multi or whatever, just because everybody's taking a multi doesn't necessarily mean that's the thing to do, right? So, I mean, that's where the education comes in. The reminder about asking the question, if I, would you? That was just an Eric Worre thing, right? But just remembering, if I could show you a way to have more energy, would you want more information? So making sure we're asking that question. There's so many like little things that I have. There was just, also about like build you. Don't build your customers, but just be a blessing. Build you, and your story should be about how you can make a difference for others. So even though it's about you, it should be something that is about you, that resonates, that shows how you can help other people. It should be about helping others, not just about you.
Awesome. Awesome.
So, yeah.
Thank you. How about you, Izzy?
Yes, as some of you know, I kind of have not really been real active in my business for the last couple of years. And I am a sales coordinator, and I just felt like this is so necessary. Everybody needs this. We all need to be sharing. I felt kind of bad for a few minutes because I haven't shared as often as I need to share with people. And I just need to, I just really feel like I'm energized to reboot. And what I really, really liked was Jules Meeker, because I always felt I was pretty weak as far as growing a team. I always felt, well, you know, I'll just do this on my own. I kind of not really good at I'm good with leading children. I don't feel like I'm so good at leading adults, but I just like what she had to say about how in her, when she signs up someone for Juice Plus and that someone says, you know, my sister is going to be interested in this and my husband could really use this, she just stops enroll at the enrollment right then and says, wait a minute, if your son in college, or, you know, if you think your son needs this and your sister needs this, your friend, why don't you just become a distributor and you be your own customer and you talk to those, I'll help you talk to those people. And just growing your team like that is a really great idea and very easy to do, I bet.
Yep.
Once you convince somebody or they become convinced that they need it, it's a good thing, others would need it too, then just say, well, yeah, why aren't you sharing it this also with them?
That's right.
And you have a team.
Well, the fact that you came and that's the message you got out of that, that was well worth you coming up then, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah. And there was a lot of other little nuggets too, but that was really the main thing.
Awesome. Yeah, well, I thought it was a great boot camp. I know, Ellen, I wish I would have got everything you said on the recording in the beginning, but I didn't. Anything else you want to add before we say goodbye? So I know we're over on.
Well, like I said, I'm hopped up on Wendy Campbell for the next few months. So I can say it again because she certainly does. But, you know, and I think that that's really empowering. She was very vulnerable. She's very raw. And she's the most, you know, she's one of the most successful people in our company. She's the top female earner in our company. She's got 140 national marketing directors in her downline. That's impact, you guys. That's duplication. And like I said earlier, it's about the 10-year-old girl taking Juice Plus now when she's going to have babies 20 years from now. It's about that generational impact. And I think sometimes we lose sight of it because we get into the day-to-day of, you know, operating our virtual franchise just like we do the rest of life, you know, and you kind of have to stop and back up. You know, in a way, it's kind of like parenting. You have to stop and back up and think of what's the big picture of all this? What's the long term of all this? Which battle am I picking or not picking? And it's kind of like that with our business. We really want to think about the long-term impact that we can have on people and being a blessing to them. And, you know, Wendy just talked about, she showed everybody what was possible. And she's talked about how upfront she spent time with them, which I know Reagan's really good at this, and did this with me 10, almost 12 years ago. Showing me what was possible. And people need multiple repetitions of that sometimes, you guys. You know, sometimes you hear a vision breakthrough at boot camp, but then maybe it's a bigger one at conference, or, you know, maybe it's the fourth time that you see the marketing plan that you finally understand what performance bonus is and how it works, and why if you went out and built a team of 50 people, you'd have a great, you know, performance bonus number in your paycheck. So I think it's all about, we've got to show people what's possible. And Wendy's always said to her teams, we love you whether you do a little or a lot. And that's very much like our team culture. And we are not like other direct sales and network marketing in that way, you guys. So in fact, I just heard a story about somebody who left level 5 Rodan and Fields, which is their highest level, because of really going through rough stuff in life and not feeling loved where she was and needing to just be where she was in life. And we do such a good job of that. So, we love people, whether they want to do a little or a lot, but we also show them what's possible. And I think that is everything that this tribe is about. It's that, if you've read Tribal Leadership, it's that stage 4 culture where we all raise each other up together. It's not doing it alone, just like Izzy said. And it was awesome. And I'll say this too, Reagan. Jay Martin is close to 80 years old, I think, right? And I said to my team, I'm like, you guys, men in their late 70s from Memphis, Tennessee are not healthy enough to fly to Vail, drive over to Breckenridge, and speak for an hour at that altitude, because that's high altitude up there. So that's a real testament to our healthy living revolution, right? And Jay's passion to make that impact. He's could have sailed off into the sunset years ago, but he's doing that because he cares about that future impact. One more person that maybe hears that story, that it changes the whole trajectory of their life. And I know that for a lot of people here, and for me especially, like my whole life changed because of this, because people spoke life into me. They spoke vision into me, sometimes over and over. Sometimes they were tough with me. Reagan had to drag me to that first boot camp, you guys. I mean, it was like, no, you're really going. And I was like, no, I'm not. And it's like, you're going, get in the car. And I fell in love with the whole thing. So,
yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. So, it's like, don't be afraid to step out there and show your people what's possible. Don't be afraid to ask one more time. Don't be afraid to put them on a 3-way phone call with your upline, okay? Because your upline is really there to cast a vision that they can't hear from you because they know you too well, okay? And so I think it was just extraordinary. I mean, I feel like I'm starting brand new. I'm so freaking excited.
Yeah. Thank you. That was great. And I'm just going to end with the one thing that I loved the most was that you don't have to be perfect. You don't have to be the tallest, the shortest, the skinniest, the smartest, whatever. We just got to go out and love people enough to give them a choice, right? So, you do enough of that, you're going to do really well here, and you're going to help a lot of people. The only way you're going to do well here is if you help a lot of people. So the money and the mission have to get married. That's just the way it is. And so I appreciate you guys all being here. Thank you for staying on a couple minutes later. And I know Sandra's off and about, but I thought it was great. And I hope you guys will put some of your own challenges together. We're going to be focusing on some Royal Crown. You're going to hear more about that coming up soon, but we're going to focus on that for our 90-day challenge, which starts in July. So it would be smart for you guys to be hosting some of your own events right now, inviting some people to join your team so that you have some people coming with you starting July 1st for this 90-day action plan. As you recall, the last 90 days, we got a new qualifying national marketing director out of that, who we weren't really on track with her hitting that for like another year, and it happened in 90 days. And Stephanie Fluharty's here because of that. Among all the other people, she's brought on Joy, Peter, so you just don't know what's going to happen when you decide that you're going to go out and love on some people. So with that, you guys have a beautiful week. And we will chat with you guys soon.
Thank you.
Thanks,
you.
everyone.
Bye.